Hello, this is Mr. Bacon Bits, and welcome back to Tiny Bunny. Man, I have, like, so many projects that I'm doing right now that I kinda don't want to talk about right now, but I promise they're all exciting. Anyway, so many things that I'm doing right now. And, the release of Chapter 4 for this game I completely overlooked it. I only just now figured out that Chapter 4 released. And it was like last month? Somewhere at the end of July. So, yeah. Completely overlooked this. And anyway, we're here with Tiny Bunny Chapter 4. Not sure how many chapters there are going to be. Probably 5. That's usually how these episodic releases go. But let's see. Okay, I think I have to do New Game because, it's a new version of the game. My old save probably doesn't work. Really? Huh, okay. Well, give me a second. Okay. Took a little bit of skipping, but I think I got to the end of episode 3? Or is this... You did it? Let me just, save here. Okay, so, it's been so long since I played this that I completely don't remember this. I already covered this part. So I'm not quite yet at the new chapter yet. So, I'm gonna meet you back at chapter 4 then. I guess that makes sense, because when it comes to the title, like the like title drop for the chapter, it should say chapter 4 for the next one. Okay. Anyway. Okay, here we go. Yeah, now I remember. Yeah, I was coming across some scenes that I actually remembered. Like that one scene where he's like dancing with the animals, quote unquote, and it becomes like a colored game for like a brief moment. Anyway, we're finally at episode 4. Let's do this.
Я сама не поверила, но Лилия Павловна на работу не вышла. Контрольная отменяется.
I remembered Katya. She was both beautiful and mean. Yeah, her right there. She became missing. Katya, the first girl in our class whose body started maturing, to the envy of all the other female students. The main source of gossip, a snake, and a bitch. I continued scribbling in my notebook, drawing rows of pines and 2 small figures, flying between the treetops and the full moon. Shivers ran up to my shoulders, sneaking playfully under the hem of my shirt. Even though soaring through the sky felt so simple, there was still something evil weighing me down. The culprit was definitely still in the village. They were hiding something horrible under a mask of piousness.
А что ты рисуешь?
Embarrassed, I covered the notebook as if there was something shameful about the figures above the forest.
Да ничего, так, дурака валяю.
Polina put her elbows on the desk. I had already forgotten how light and graceful she was, just like a violin. The anger and rage that boiled inside me yesterday, during our phone call, subsided, hid in a hole. I just couldn't stay mad at Polina. I guess I got mad at her. I completely forgot. I wish she could also jump around with us, after stripping away her mask of fake mundanity. Oh, yeah, that's right! What? That's right. Didn't she, like, side with the bullies and, like, set me up? Yeah, okay. I don't really like her that much now. I smiled, imagining Paulina's skirt flapping in the wind, the stars sparkling all around us, her asking in bewilderment whether it is all a dream, and myself telling her that it doesn't matter. Paulina's expression grew dark again.
Ужасно еще и то, что Катю мне жалеть сложно. Я правда ищу в себе сострадание, но вспоминаю ее поступки и...
Paulina shook her head.
Я чудовище, да?
I mean, I don't know. No, I thought. You're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met. But alas, you're only number 2 on that list. I decided not to say that out loud.
Плохо, наверное, что исчезновение анкеты расстроило меня больше, чем пропажа одноклассницы.
Yeah, I guess. My nostrils picked up the smell of candy, tree resin, and fireworks.
Ты потеряла анкету?
Да, и кто-то сейчас читает чужие секреты.
Uh-oh. Yes, the forest, I thought, imagining the crooked branches turning notebook pages, touching the childish handwriting with their icy twigs.
Надеюсь, ее найдут.
I was unsure whether she spoke about Katya or her notebook. I was just thinking the same thing. I wanted to ask her about it, but then I noticed Paulina's intense stare directed at me.
Что?
Ты будто изменился.
I smoothed my hair flat, surprised.
Просто не выспался.
Сегодня ты точно какая-то другая мелодия. Очень древняя, таинственная.
I thought about the flute's melody. Yeah, streaming between the bushy treetops.
Надеюсь, ты никому не рассказал про наш вчерашний разговор?
Что ты?
No, I absolutely have no idea what you're talking about. She nodded as if acknowledging that she can fully trust me. I was unsure whether I merited such trust. Her hair cascaded down around her shoulders. The smell was so wonderful that it sent me flying toward the glowing stars of my inner cosmos without any magic. Biasha jumped at me like that Jack-in-the-Box toy and yelled in my ear. I like how even though the game completely telegraphs it, that still got me. Yeah, shut up, Biasha.
Ты чё, очкарик, Полиночку охмуряешь?
Paulina came to my help even though I didn't ask her to. Or maybe I did with my entire appearance.
Что за глупости? Мы просто друзья.
Твоя подружка, значит? Ходишь вместе за платьями? С этим педиком?
I forgot these bullies are hateful.
Никакой он не педик. И вообще, отвянь от Петрова.
I needed to do something, but I just sat there, clutching the edge of my desk. Romka gave me a deriding snort.
Баба тебя спасла, уродец. Живи пока.
My enemies left the classroom, guffawing. Paulina showed me a sad smile.
Будь сильным.
I wanted to scream that I couldn't. I couldn't be strong and stand up against these bastards. I couldn't stand up for myself or anyone else. I'm pathetic. I want to disappear into the forest, dig myself into the snow. I want to go home, get under my blanket, far away from humans. Paulina left, and the thoughts that were terrorizing me finally made me weep. I stayed late after school again to escape Bromka's ire for my rash act of talking to Paulina, which meant I had to drag my feet toward home in the twilight. A bored school janitor scraped his shovel against the asphalt and the upperclassmen blew out smoke that formed clouds similar to dialogue bubbles in comics. I wanted to fill those bubbles with friendly words, but there was nothing friendly about the icy stares those guys gave me. I was leaving the unpleasant world of stale buns and nasty insults. Someone shoved me near the stairs. Didn't their parents teach them to apologize? I crossed the village and slowed my pace near the bridge. I turned my head around, looking for my fox friend, but neither she nor my other new friends could be seen anywhere. I was met with the silent forest. It felt like a crouching predator, pretending to be asleep. It still watched me with one eye, from under half-closed eyelids, and I walked through it, my fingers gripping the backpack straps, looking at my feet through a pair of glasses. Once again, black shadows flashed among the naked trees, shouting the name of a girl, who was most likely already dead, over and over. The sunset fizzled over the pine tops, like a flame from a gas burner set to a minimum. I walked forward, trying to hide my head and my shoulders, avoiding the sight of the crooked trees. The house was a dark stain on the white, snowy blanket. The front door was open and swayed slightly in the wind. It felt like my skin was getting covered in rime. I clenched my fists. Darkness oozed into the hallway, and snowflakes rested inside along with it, landing softly on the rug, like a pack of vultures that sensed their food. I stepped into the doorway with the utmost caution. Well, I hear, voices. For a moment, I thought I heard someone talking in the kitchen, but it turned out to be a radio broadcast. Oh. Okay.
Циклон, о котором мы предупреждали, движется к региону. Завтра синоптики обещают ветер с порывами до 15 метров.
Huh.
МЧС призвала жителей соблюдать меры предосторожности. Дороги перекрыты. Холодная воздушная масса арктического происхождения несет с собой буран.
Huh. Sounds like we may have to stay indoors. I heard voices coming from the upper floor, too. The staircase let out a long squeak. I took one step, yet my heart managed to beat 6 or 7 times in the meantime. The door to my parents' bedroom was ajar. Sounds like they're arguing. A shadow play unfolded inside a light spot. Black silhouettes were performing a dance of hatred. Mom hissed at Dad, her wrists flying toward the ceiling, and he towered over her, his hands crossed on his huge chest.
Мы все в опасности. И все из-за тебя. И не ври, ты видел его в поселке. Он вычислил, где мы живем.
Это был не он!
Я читала в газетах, на что способны твои дружки.
I ran toward my bedroom. My parents were in the middle of another quarrel where they showered each other with mutual accusations. Dad let out a low, beast-like roar.
Пусть они прекратят.
Olya stood in the corner, pressing her little palms against her ears. Her face, swollen from crying, made my skin freeze.
Что случилось?
Они разведутся.
Uh-oh. I hugged my sister and held her tight. My tongue refused to listen to my commands, to look for excuses. It felt like the screams were coming from every direction, right and left, up and down, splitting my head apart. Swear words rained down on us, so we covered our heads with our hands, like refugees running from a bombing.
Я хочу уйти.
В свою комнату.
Нет. Дальше. Отведи меня в Небыляндию. Ты обещал.
I carefully unglued Olya's hands from her ears and led her away from the room with our parents, which was vibrating with malice.
Из-за тебя!
Ради кого?
In moments like these, I despised them more than they despised each other. I bolted down the door to my room and leaned against it. My knees gave way.
Послушай, Оля, мне тоже здесь плохо.
Ты хотя бы в школу ходишь.
I let out a sad laugh.
Эта школа кошмар. Меня там все ненавидят. Только одна девочка надо мной не смеется. Зато жалеет, как побитого пса.
Ты не пес. Ты...
Я не понимаю, кто я.
Yeah. Things are really fucked up!
Но там, снаружи, ничем не лучше, чем в доме.
Где же лучше? Давай пойдем туда. Полети.
Если б можно было, я бы все на свете отдал, чтобы уйти и забрать тебя с собой.
Olya's upper lip trembled.
Клянешься?
I put on a bitter smile.
Чтоб мне умереть.
Might not want to say those words. Something hit the window's ledge on the outside. Olya shuddered and shifted her gaze toward it. Bam! Another snowball smacked into the window's frame.
Ты ждешь кого-то?
No? I didn't reply. Instead, I let go of her wrist. Olya wept in fear. I crossed the room, wincing from every shout coming from my parents. I could hear plates getting smashed now. They must have moved their argument to the kitchen. Huh. I flung the curtains and the window open. Hooty, Teddy, Wolfie, and most importantly, the charming Elisa stood outside, waving at us. Olya gasped in surprise when she saw the owl girl.
Я же говорила.
Да, знаю, я тебе всегда верил.
Кто они?
Her fearful voice also had some curiosity mixed in.
Чтобы в такую погоду дома сидеть, надо быть очень скучными детьми.
Давайте только не во все игры играть, а то у меня лапка болит. Вот чуть-чуть, и потом отдохнем. Выходите скорее, играть и танцевать!
My heart started beating faster as soon as I saw Elisa, and my inner voice practically screamed, "She's here! She's finally here!"
Они знают, как попасть в Небыляндию.
I entertained that possibility, looking at the animal kids.
Может быть, пойдем и узнаем.
Yeah, let's go find out. Everything else is a shithole here. The silhouettes of my forest friends promise to free us from sadness, anger, and nightly horrors. I made sure that Olya wore warm clothes. Mom barked at Dad like a wild beast from that show with Nikolai Drozdov. We sneaked past the rumbling kitchen and into the snowfall outside. Elisa ran up to me and hugged me tight, poking her cold nose into my neck.
Как же долго! Пока мы вас домоседов ждали, то чуть не состарились.
I'm sorry. She pressed her body into me even harder.
Оказывается, ждать так утомительно. Фу, дайте хоть минуточку в себя прийти.
Однажды я тоже долго собиралась. А когда закончила, то и вовсе забыла куда.
Olya looked at the owl with suspicion. But she still giggled when the bird did a backflip and landed perfectly on her feet without staggering. All the other animals, as if on cue, stopped fooling around and stared at Olya in amazement.
Это же та девочка, что не хотела со мной дружить.
Меня зовут Оля. Раньше я просто тебя боялась. Тебя испугала наша совушка?
Может быть, у нее совофобия?
Да.
А это лечится?
Главное, Главное, чтобы ребенок не боялся веселиться.
Yeah, sure.
Иначе с нами можно умереть от страха.
Alright. I was stunned at the realization that my lips were slowly forming a smile. Every time I met Elisa, it felt like I crossed a river, and the sound of flowing water suppressed all of my negative thoughts.
Какие у вас красивые костюмы!
The fox girl let go of me and squatted beside Olya.
О, какая очаровашка! Антоша, почему ты прятал от нас это милое создание раньше?
I glanced at the house, worried that our parents might have seen us and were about to ruin our fun like they always do. Then hugged my sister and replied,
Давайте отойдем подальше.
Запросто! Оля, а ты знаешь, как найти в нашем лесу Деда Мороза?
Grandpa Frost! My little sister's eyes widened.
Как? Нужно идти по сладкой тропинке.
Elisa bent down and took a candy out of the snow. Olya raised her hands in amazement. She gave me an inquiring look. I nodded. My sister munched on the candy.
У нас что, в лесу завелся Дед Мороз? Почему? Ты мне не рассказывала.
Я рассказывала. Сегодня днем.
Но ведь днем я сплю.
Oh, whoops.
Ага. Вот я и рассказывала, пока ты спала.
Elisa dashed away, wiggling her red tail like a torch's flame. Olya went after her without thinking and laughed after taking another candy out of a snow pile.
Вы такие бодрые, на вас аж смотреть противно.
А ты давай не зевай. Лучше беги с нами к Деду Морозу, пока все подарки не разобрали.
Скажешь тоже. Скорее уж мне на голову свалится 3 кило конфет, чем я поверю в байки лисицы.
Well? When the aforementioned sweets started raining down upon the bear's head, I couldn't stop myself from laughing at him ouching and bobbing his head up and down. Tasty treats glistened in the snow. Teddy sneezed and pulled a little Bear in the North candy out of his ear.
Я бы вздремнул часок, а уж потом пересчитал все эти шоколадки. У меня такое подозрение, что тут не больше килограмма.
Elisa shouted at us from the other side of the forest.
Не в этой жизни! Давайте скорее! Дед Мороз уже заждался нас во дворце!
I shrugged and ran, running loosened the grip of fear I felt all this time. Something round whizzed past my temple. I decided it was a snowball, but then Olya proclaimed,
Зефир!
Zephyr. A type of soft confectionery made by whipping fruit and berry puree with sugar and egg whites. Ooh. That sounds good.
Не подбирай, он испачкался.
Ты что, веришь в микробов?
А ты нет?
Раньше верила.
Graceful rows of colossal pines greeted us with their rustling paws. Snow drifted upward into the endless black sky, just like last time. Snow piles lighted up like melted silver.
Как же красиво! А я думала, в лесу страшно. Нас родители пугали лесом, снегом и совой. Ну а мы с совой играли в снежной чаще под луной.
I did my best to keep track of Olya's movement, but it was a difficult task. My sister would jump inside bushes, picking up more candy, only to then get back to the trail laughing. Hootie flew over our heads, landed on a branch, and started hooting and shaking her head. Wolfie dug into the snow with his face, dragged out a pile of bubblegum, and swallowed it without taking off the wrapping.
У тебя будет
Несварение.
The wolf got scared and spat out the gumball.
Враки, враки, злые собаки. Нет никаких несварений. Вся эта чушь случается только со взрослыми.
Elisa stopped in her tracks and moved a canopy of intertwined branches to the side in a pompous manner, like you would open the curtains in theater. Wow! And we never found this before! Behind that obstacle lay a clearing. There stood an ice castle, glistening with silver.
Это все взаправду?
I mean, I don't know.
Защипнуть тебя.
Не надо ее щипать.
We stared at the sparkling miracle. Its towers and walls were made out of snow and icy marble. I heard a calming sound of ringing little bells. There was also the smell of chocolate and burnt sugar in the air.
Милости прошу к нашему шалашу.
Yes, please. She didn't have to invite us twice. We entered the castle, spinning around and squinting from the blinding sparkles. Wow. You kind of look like Santa. Maybe. Grandpa Frost sat atop a shiny throne. Puffy pom-poms swung atop the two peaks of his hat. A snow-white beard covered his kind smile. He looked just like I imagined him back in the day when I still believed in Mom's fairy tales. Tall, strong, and hairy, radiating frost and warmth at the same time. Wait a minute. Grandpa Frost. Yeah, legendary figure similar to Santa Claus. Hailing from Slavic mythology. Okay. And his voice, low and syrupy, enveloped me like the smoke of a festive bonfire.
Антон и Ольга. Ох, и намучились же вы, ребятки, пока сюда добирались.
Что ты, дедушка? Мы быстро дошли.
My sister spoke with the castle's master like she never spoke with adults, in a lively, carefree manner, as if they were the same age.
Знаю, все знаю. Мне мои друзья докладывают. Кто был покладистым весь год, того подарок утром ждет. А кто ленился и грустил, пускай он дедушку простит. Лентяем и грустяем конфет не запасаем.
А я не ленилась.
И о том знаю.
He gave us a long, evaluating look. His real face was hidden under the Grandpa Frost mask. I was just standing there, unblinking, my gaze glued to the old man. It's a mask? Huh. I could accept children living in the forest and fantastical jumps toward the moon, but seeing Grandpa Frost in his frozen castle left me completely speechless.
Есть у меня для вас кое-что особенное.
Cool, can you give us a new home? A sack appeared in his giant hand. My nostrils got attacked by the aroma of cocoa, halva, and tangerines. Halva is a confectionery that originated from Persia. Yeah, I think I had some of that.
Спасибо, но мы уже ели конфеты.
Grandpa Frost pierced me with his eyes.
Разве то конфеты были? Так, одно название. Вот у меня конфеты волшебные, прямиком из Небыляндии привезенные.
Neverland, huh?
Из Небыляндии?
Сразу бы вам их дал. Заслужили. Но есть правила.
Rules, huh?
Надобно вам 3 дедушкины загадки отгадать. Попробуйте.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not really that good at riddles. I tried splitting my parched lips apart, but Olya was the first to reply. Of course, you want candy.
Тогда слушайте первую.
Okay, I wonder if I have to actually solve
В
these.
нем живут машины и хранятся шины.
I looked around at the masked children. They stood without moving in the corners, but their shadows danced on the walls. I heard a low hum, and in my confusion, I thought it was the sound of their rumbling stomachs. Why is the music getting weird?
Гараж!
Верно. Теперь вторая загадка. Подключайся, Антон.
Sure.
Весь день ходит, как тень, посудой гремит, на всех шипит.
My eyebrows shot up in confusion.
Мама?
Olya raised her hand.
Можно я? Можно я? Это кошка!
Oh,
Верно. Хо-хо. Осталась последняя загадка и подарки ваши.
okay.
Только вот незадача, ребятушки. Запамятовал я, о чем же была эта загадка. А может, наши друзья-зверята нам подскажут?
Sure, I guess they could help me. What the hell was that with the music suddenly getting scary? And now it's all fine. Children in costumes surrounded us, laughing and stomping, only to start spinning in a crazed roundelay that somewhat reminded me of the dance under my window on that fateful night.
Мешок!
Убедили старика. Получайте.
Cool! He scattered a mountain of sweets from his scarlet sack, some of which I had never even seen in commercials before. Bubblegum of all shapes and colors with tasty aromas and inserts sticking out. Lollipops the size of a fist and tangerines the size of Olya's head. Wilkie May! I like it! Tavixie! Davinky? And also Snickers, Mars, Bounty Bars, and Kinder Surprise eggs that we haven't eaten for so long already. Okay, yeah.
Ой, спасибо!
I wiped away the tears of joy with my sleeve when my inner voice persuaded me to get rid of all doubts. This is exactly what I wanted for my sister and myself. The true Neverland, without bullying and taboos. We're finally going to be happy. Grandpa Frost straightened up as he left his throne and threw his hands in the air over the trees. Animals that stood to his sides also raised their paws. Their eyes sparkled brighter than precious gems. The wolf's maw was wet with saliva.
Да будет пир на весь мир!
Animal kids rushed to devour candy one by one, pushing each other and growling. Their faces were smeared with something dark. Olya grabbed the closest candy and tore off the wrapper. Sure. Oh wow, color again. I fished out the most tasty-looking candy from the pile of sweets on the floor. That's a Milky Way. Then took a bite. Milk chocolate melted in my mouth.
С выбором вас поздравляю. Веселитесь в этот час. Я желания исполняю, сокровенные для вас.
Антон, смотри!
My sister's face was smeared in chocolate, and I was about to reprimand her, but words got stuck in my throat. A giant spruce shot toward the stars and disappeared somewhere in outer space, crowned by a giant moon. Giant balls shined on its branches. Garlands of lights gleamed with all the colors of the rainbow. The roof disappeared and myriads of constellations sprawled on the night sky above us. Music, laughter, the smell of evergreen and sweets. And Teddy, Wolfie, and Hootie dancing beside us. And the snowflakes floating backward. I was about to say, didn't you get the snowflakes like moving on the in a different way? I burst out laughing, touched the bushy golden tinsel. It was all real.
Что? Это она?
Вы тут не про Небыландию случайно говорите?
Это и есть Небыляндия?
Elisa performed a theatric bow. Christmas balls gleamed and shimmered, and my soul shimmered in unison with them. I was becoming the magic winter forest, the soft evergreen, all of the constellations at the same time.
Добро пожаловать домой.
This is where my home always was. The snow sparkled, almost blinding me. Olia started spinning in a dance. She grabbed a candy with each of her hands. Wolfie juggled Kinder Surprise eggs.
Ты видел?
Consoles, handheld games, dolls, and Transformer figures lay under the spruce as if they were brought here by trucks.
Это все наше!
I realized I was also dancing, so I replied while moving.
Многовато для нас одних. Я бы поделился с кем-нибудь. А ты?
Если с кем-то хорошим.
A group of children stood at the edge of the woods, their enchanted gazes directed at our celebration.
Эй!
I jumped across the whole clearing and glided to the ground near them.
Хотите с нами?
Whoa!
Спрашивайте.
The kids took each other by the hand. I led their procession toward the gifts. There was no better feeling than leading someone on the road to their dreams. The holiday party was finally in full swing. In every holiday, just like in a beautiful apple, always sat a nasty little worm called transience. Yet here, under the bristly paws of a magnificent spruce, holidays never ended.
Ты счастлив, Тоша?
Я счастлив.
Up in the sky, majestic fireworks went off, illuminating the dancing figures. My eyes wetted, my muscles sprung up. I tilted my head backward to look at the moon and screamed at the top of my lungs from overflowing emotion.
Счастлив, зайчик?
I jumped toward the stars and did a flip. All of Neverland could hear my scream.
Счастлив!
Oh, man. That was a kind of a trip. For the first time in the long days I'd spent in the new house, I woke up with a smile on my face. This time, happiness had a tight grip on me. I stretched, enjoying the sweet sensation with every cell of my body. Outside, I could hear the joyful chirping of beautiful red-chested bullfinches, who celebrated the bright January sun. Their chirping granted me hope that the naked forest outside my window would someday turn into a lush paradise for my parents and my little sister. The corridor was filled with dog barks and the patter of tiny feet. The door to my bedroom flew open, greeting me with a warm breeze and the aroma of freshly made coffee. Olya stood in the doorway, shining with happiness, holding the cute Julka who wiggled both her body and her tail.
Тоша, гляди, гляди!
Aww. Tears of joy formed in my little sister's eyes.
У меня теперь есть собака!
I couldn't help but jump up from the bed upon hearing this wonderful news.
Да ведь это же Жулька.
Сам ты жулька! Ее зовут принцесса.
Okay.
Да, ваше высочество?
The dog barked in agreement. Alright, we're naming you Princess then.
Тук-тук. Можно к вам?
Wow, they are actually happy. This must be a dream. I'm sorry. To my complete surprise, Dad stepped through the doorway, smiling and hugging Mom, which was outright bizarre.
Как тебе пополнение? Мне эта дуреха под колеса бросилась, еле вырулил. Машину поцарапал, думал, голыми руками удавлю. А заглянул ей в глаза. Они такие, как бы сказать...
Умные.
Во! А сама дрожит вся. Ну, говорю, ладно, доедешь со мной до дома и сиденье не обгадишь, тогда оставайся.
Принцессы не гадят.
Sure, Olya. We laughed in unison, just like the good old days when every little thing could easily make us burst out laughing.
Чего замолчал? Давай, продолжай.
Mom gave Dad a cunning look and he turned away, red as a beet. They were acting like total kids.
А еще из хороших новостей. Ваш папа получил повышение. Грешно, конечно, радоваться, ведь старший бухгалтер пропал все-таки. Но, как говорится, нет худа без добра.
Это значит, тебя чаще не будет дома?
Это значит двойную надбавку плюс премии.
Правильно, Карина. Так что готовьтесь. На следующей неделе нас всех ждет семейное путешествие.
My heart started beating faster after those words. Disney... Going to Disney World? I think that's what the kids have always wanted. Olya even loosened her grip on the stray.
Неужели в Макдональдс?
I think we're going to someplace even better than that.
Скажешь тоже, Оль.
Come on, Olya.
Бери выше. Мы давно уже планировали эту поездку, да все не получалось.
Disney World.
Вы уж простите нас, ребятки.
Mom wiped away a tear with her fist.
Да ладно тебе, Карин. Все в прошлом. В общем, собирайте чемоданы.
Disneyland.
Летим в Диснейленд.
My sister and I jumped up to the ceiling with joy. The dog also got excited from that passionate speech and joined us.
Ура! Диснейленд! Диснейленд!
Our jubilant screams filled the house, rushed through the attic and the drain pipes, flew across the front yard and sneaked into the shining white forest, taking the scary D word away with it. I swore that I'll remember this day forever, the day when my parents finally dropped their derisive masks, and underneath them were the faces of parents we always knew and loved. Wow, I guess that wasn't a dream. Sorry, that got me a little. Lilia Pavlovna still hadn't returned to school after Katya went missing, so today I was able to get a good night's sleep and went to school when it was already bright outside. Okay. If we go through school without getting bullied, something's wrong. The trail led to a snow-white plain with blackened houses in the background. They pumped out gray smoke that carried the smell of birch and pine logs. The freezing cold of the night had finally let up. It fell into slumber under the early sunlight. Ice sparkles appeared on the white caps atop the houses. I stopped, confident that nobody could spoil my good mood today. Not even my personal tormentor, Pyatifanov, or his nasty crony, Biasha. Not even the shining knife that threatened to cut me up like a dead fish. Not even the mix of disdain and pity in Paulina's rare glances. All of that was left in the past, forgotten like a bad dream. All of that was gone forever. A cow let out a long moo somewhere in the distance. I fell out of my fleeting daydream and walked forward, crunching with the snow blanket under my soles. Fluffy clouds floated above my head. I recognized the friendly shapes of animal kids in them. Suddenly a snowball landed on the back of my head. Girlish laughter that reminded me of a small ringing bell in the spring breeze tickled my ears. I turned around, expecting to see her, my lovely guide into the dream world, my dear Elisa. Yet instead of a fox girl, Polina stood on the trodden path behind me, with her faithful violin case in hand.
Опять Петров ворон считаешь?
I guess. She lunged at me with contagious laughter, locking her arms around my neck. I just stood there in awe, drowning in the sweet aroma of her perfume.
Что с тобой?
She flashed me an embarrassing smile. I saw her cornflower-colored eyes gleam.
Дедушка мой, он снова может ходить, представляешь?
Oh, okay, what is going on? There is so much good stuff happening. There has to be a catch.
В это даже сельский врач не верил, а он будто назло ему встал и пошел. О, это самый счастливый день в моей жизни, Антон!
She dug her face deep into my chest, tightened her grip on my neck as if I was more than just a friend to her. I started looking around, anxious.
Полина, нас могут увидеть.
Из-за Пятифанова беспокоишься? Брось ты это дело, его и след простыл.
I cautiously parted with Polina, trying to understand whether it was some sort of prank or the truth.
Ну ты чего, не веришь, что ли?
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to think something's going on here. Like, this is entirely a good day. Nothing bad is happening. What the hell is going on?
К нам вчера, буквально ночью, старший лейтенант Тихонов приезжал. Так и так, Бяша потерялся, а вместе с ним и дружок его Ромка.
Yeah, and the bullies went missing. A group of skiers glided past us straight into the forest. Polina leaned into my ear, sharing her whisper with me, her eyes still locked on the skiers.
Как я поняла, во всех этих исчезновениях Тихонов подозревает Пятифанова.
Really?
Да ладно.
Я сама в шоке. По слухам, у Ромки того. Совсем шарики за ролики заехали. Да я, в принципе, и не удивлена.
Что ты имеешь в виду?
А ты не знал? Он из проблемной семьи.
I mean, bullies usually are.
Даже думать не хочу, что творилось у них дома.
Romka always seemed excessively aggressive to me, always angry at everyone without a good reason. Now, the darkness that he harbored within overflowed into the outside world and led multiple small innocent souls to their demise, as well as his own. It was hard to believe, but the first time I laid my eyes on Romka, I thought that things would end this way.
Пойдем скорее, а то опоздаем.
Polina grabbed my hand and started running along the village road, accompanied by joyful laughter. With every step, every laugh, and every joke, the warmth I thought I'd forgotten enveloped my heart more and more. The all-consuming feeling of falling in love came back to me, this time for good, it seemed. I tried letting go of Polina's hand near the classroom entrance, embarrassed that our classmates might taunt us. But it was as if Polina didn't care at all. She only gripped my palm even harder while opening the door. And she was right. Now that the cunning Katya, the heartless Romka, and the sneering Biasha were gone, our class looked as if it was sanitized from parasites. It became friendlier and kinder. I didn't get looks overflowing with hatred anymore. There was nobody to spit a ball of chewed paper at me through an empty shell of a ball pen. I think this is an elaborate dream that he's having. Like, he had such a good time with the forest children. Yeah, like he had such a good time with the forest children. I actually believe that they're real. But like he had such a good time with the forest children that he's dreaming this up. Dreaming that his life is suddenly 100% better now. I sat at my lonely desk when Polina joined me. I wasn't surprised at all. She was so charming that I could call her my muse. A wave of inspiration hit me, and I couldn't help but pull my sketchbook out of my bag. I licked the pencil lead, my eyes glued to my model. She smiled at me again.
Что ты задумал?
Спокойствие. Работает профессионал.
I drafted the shapes of her mesmerizing figure.
Знаешь, я часто наблюдал за тобой отсюда.
She glanced at her former desk, then fixed a strand of hair behind her ear in embarrassment.
Правда?
I outlined her cute cheeks with multiple wide lines. It was the first time I was able to grasp somebody's proportions so precisely.
Полина.
Что, Антон?
She froze in place, afraid of disrupting my work with one wrong move and dispelling the magic of the moment.
Наклонись, пожалуйста, сюда. Вот так, да, хорошо.
Choking from anxiousness, Paulina loosened the knot on her
Я
neckerchief.
всегда хотел тебя нарисовать.
Our eyes met.
О, Антон.
Yeah, this is definitely a dream. My pencil slid across the paper furiously, adding the shading to her chest.
Скажи, ты согласна стать героиней моего комикса?
Pleasant shivers ran across her body. She rolled her eyes back, enraptured. Yeah, that lip bite? I don't think she would be doing that right now.
Как долго я ждала этих слов, милый!
And calling him darling? The lead couldn't endure all of the tension and cracked, bursting into a million tiny pieces. I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the drawing. Uh-oh. I don't like the look of that achievement that just popped up that says I just became a monster. I was looking at a terrible daub. In the place where Paulina's face was just a second ago, now rested some sort of formless mess. It took me some time to realize that I was sitting alone in an empty classroom, with only the specks of dust flying in the moonlight as my company. It was dark outside. My classmates, Paulina, the feeling of euphoria, all of them were gone. Somebody wrote down a nursery rhyme on the blackboard with a piece of chalk, but some of the words were wiped out and I could only read bits and pieces. 1, 2, bunny, meat. I was no longer smirking like an idiot. I stood up, pinched myself on the wrist. A ringing silence engulfed me. There was a taste of vomit in my mouth, and my ears buzzed like from an endless scream, full of despair and horror.
Эй, кто-нибудь!
Shadows swarmed in the corridor. I walked past boarded-up classrooms, past the rotten spots on the walls and silvery cobwebs. Everybody's missing, even the teachers! Oh my god. Spiders crawled under the ceiling. Lamps flickered anxiously. I stopped before the notice board, stunned. Hundreds of new photos were added to those of Semyon and Katya. Black and white printouts were glued on top of each other. The horrific collage of childish faces stared at me with empty eye sockets. Unable to endure the torturing stares of those watchful, gaping holes, I ran out of the school. I crossed the front yard and reached the road where the wind was whipping up powdery snow. No people, no cars, no birds. Low clouds got stuck on chimneys. Windows that looked like they were painted over with ink. Photos of missing people enveloped lampposts and fences like paper skin. Mostly kids, but some adults too. It felt like all the people who once lived in this village now became black and white ghosts in the photos with a person missing label. I dragged my feet forward along the dead street. Some houses had their windows smashed. The wind made itself at home there, wandering the rooms. Every gust made the front doors swing. Kids' coats hung from the fences. Their sleeves moved, stretched out toward me. An empty village, an empty husk. What happened here? An overthrown waste bin rumbled across the back alley. Something flashed inside the window frames of the charred village store. I ran away from its sooty facade, then heard a guttural roar coming from the well. I started walking faster, trying not to pay any mind to the darkness inside the front yards, inside the bloodied doghouses, inside the crooked shacks. The moon appeared from under the clouds. Something flew over my head in this draining silence. As if a crop duster flew from one roof to another, a huge shadow loomed over me. I rushed to the right, hoping that I wasn't noticed. A small green house in front of me was my shelter. I pushed the gate, crouched, and scampered toward the porch. I tugged at the doorknob. The front door was open. Bye! A wheelchair rolled out of the darkness, almost hitting me, tumbled down the stairs, clanging with its wheels, and stopped near an apple tree. I followed it with round eyes, then turned my gaze inside the house again. The corridor was obscured by the dark. Empty frames on the walls, glass shards on the floor.
Есть тут кто?
I heard growling in reply. From around the corner at the end of the corridor, a furry paw appeared, and after it, a scary beast face with a pair of burning eyes. A huge, overweight beast crawled out on its belly, writhing like a snake. It could barely fit inside the corridor's mouth. It squeezed forward, clawing at the floorboards. Its maws clanged like a bear trap inches away from my face. The beast got stuck. It banged its paws on the walls, spitting saliva in every direction. I turned around. I needed to get the hell out of this nightmare. A hunchback owl, bigger than an average human, landed near the front gate and stood in my way. Its beak kept on clicking. A snow pile bulged nearby, and something reminiscent of a giant shrew crawled to the outside. I fell to my knees as if praying to these eldritch creatures. A figure draped in a dirty fox scalp crawled out of a dark hole, smiling with all its teeth. Its tail dragged after it, just a piece of vertebrae laced in torn sinews. The creatures' bodies became extremely distorted, and I decided I was going insane. They seemed small to me one moment, as small as a child, only to stretch higher than any of the desolate houses the next. Man-eating creatures towered over me. Something kept on writhing in their stomachs as if looking for a way out. The longer they stared at me, the wider their twisted smiles, their death masks, became.
Как же славно мы пировали!
The mutilated fox taxidermy mount licked its lips. Its tongue looked like a black centipede, longer than my forearm. The nasty insect ran between the razor-sharp teeth and dropped into the bottomless pit that could swallow the whole world. There was nothing human about their speech. It was all just animalistic growls and bird-like whizzes. But I was able to understand every word as if we were speaking the same language.
Как жаль, что ты не поспел за нами, зайчик. Не смог укусить луну. Вы обидали меня, предатели! Ты сам не захотел есть свою семью. Но... Жалкое мясо, никчемное мясо. Ты ничтожен, братец. Меня тебя тошнит. Позор! Позор!
Indescribable horror gripped me when the laughing beasts held their clawed paws towards me. Then, suddenly, the thing that pretended to be a fox started barking loudly.
Глупцы! Его черед нести угощение. Дармоед! Пусть исполнит предназначение. К завтрашней ночи ждем места, а иначе... 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 Иначе мы съедим всю твою семью!
The monsters formed a circle around me and started dancing. I screamed. Huge fangs, huge eyes, fangs, claws flashed in front of me, blurring into a string of colorful spots and smudges. A fox face protruded from the fuzzy lights that the beastly carcasses turned into. A desperate cry, my cry, rumbled across the back streets of the desolate village. The circle broke up and I ran for my life. It felt like I was running into a snare trap. My head was splitting. Ugly images danced inside it, colliding, falling over, getting up and dancing again. They flapped their wings, poked my face with their beaks and their salivating maws. They howled and jumped around, and my eardrums were ready to pop, either from their screams or from the internal pressure that fractured my skull from within. My winter hat obscured my vision, and it seemed like the whole sky tilted, like a roof that's about to collapse. Snow crumbled from the sky like plaster. I ran through the empty streets, through the icy world, chased by a pack of beasts. Yet I couldn't see anybody when I turned around. I shut my eyes and hopped away from the ritual dance that went on inside my flared-up mind. I squeezed my ears with my palms to suppress the noise. I just wanted to stop my head from cracking open. The sunrise found me deep inside the forest. Huh. Wow! Okay, that was episode 4, huh? Man, now I don't know whether it was like, yeah, now I don't know if it was like either, a dream or if it kind of actually happened. Yeah, that's kind of making me wonder, like, what the hell is going on with the forest children? Like, are they actually benevolent? Was that just a dream? Was that their actual, like, or was that, like, their actual, modus operandi? It's weird, I can't find any other description for that. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. I'm glad I'm still following this. The events that happened in this episode might have been a little bit different. I don't know. What I mean by that is, like, as I got myself toward the chapter 4, I think I made a couple of choices that I didn't make before. I don't know if that, like, directly it probably does affect the story in some way. Like, how did I get that, like, achievement for becoming a monster? Because I didn't see any, like, other choices in chapter 4, so maybe maybe the choices I've made in the previous chapters kind of led to that, which would be kind of cool. Which means that would mean I got, like, a wildly different ending than I could probably get a wildly different ending to this chapter. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, this is Tiny Bunny, Chapter 4. Can't wait for the next chapter. I don't know if it's the final one, but yeah. Yeah, keep this going, devs. I can't wait to see more. This has been Mr. Bacon Bits. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. And I will see you guys later.